Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we are again. I am so happy here to be in this platform to be able to bring to you that positive energy. It's people to people with Rodney Grimes. You know, when I do this, I get so pumped up and excited over everything. But what's really got me pumped up today is the individual that I got in here with me, sitting in the seat with me. So I'm not even going to really talk about many things. I wanted everybody to know that I send peace and blessings to you. And for everyone out there that's had a birthday, happy birthday. You had an anniversary, happy anniversary. And if you lost a loved one, we send our condolences to you as well. You know how we are. We are the People Podcast. What I want to do now is introduce my guest, Mr. Aladdin. How you doing, sir?
Hey,
How's it?
yeah, thank you.
My man.
Honored to be here with you, Rodney.
Man, this is a pleasure. So here, I like people to know that we keep it real.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
it's been a long time since we've been in the same room.
It has. I don't exactly remember when it might have been like 09, 010 maybe.
Yeah, I don't think I was
010.
as gray as I am now. But
That means you got that wisdom. That's what
yeah,
that means.
well, time give it to you. You know,
Absolutely.
Really, what it is, I'm thankful to be here though.
Amen.
We lost so many people, during the pandemic. What you been up to?
Oh man. Wow. That's a loaded question. Working. Trying to study this world as it's shifting. So just being a student, really.
Okay.
Sitting back, observing. You know, opening new businesses, delving into new businesses, and that's just what you got to do. It's
Yeah.
about adaptation. So just going through it like everybody else.
Yeah, making it happen.
Absolutely.
It's like we're in this whole different arena where everything is almost like you kind of starting over because it's a new way of doing things.
Yeah, it is. Only thing you can do is just kind of study and see and figure out where you fit in. And,
Yeah.
The way the world's moving, you just got to really be a student right now. So.
I think back in the day, of course, when I was in your arena, you always had something to do with the public, with the music industry or things of that nature, and that's what I recall when we were interacting. It's not the same anymore.
Nah, it's everything's going digital, virtual. You see virtual reality coming more into fruition, so it'll be interesting. It is definitely a shift that's happening right now.
So, do you feel like we're in a position where we have a better opportunity to make things happen?
Yes, I think to some degree that it's leveled the playing field. I think you look at what you're doing in here. You have this amazing setup. You got multiple cameras. And the cameras aren't even that big. If you used to have a cameraman to hold it, and now with the tripods and things like that, it's a lot of things you can kind of do on your own.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait for anyone to say, "Oh yeah, you need XYZ to do certain things."
Yeah, technology.
Technology.
So we're in a position right now where technology is giving us that opportunity.
Yeah.
With that said, so I don't want to make this really about me because you are my guest, but I want to take this opportunity to just give you just a little brief idea of where people to people is going.
Right.
What we're looking for is to be a force in the area
Uh-huh.
for the upcoming artists, young business owners, poets, dancers, preachers, teachers, anybody that's trying to do something positive in a community. We want to be a platform for them,
Right.
to be able to have easy access.
Nice.
And so what we do is we just keep everybody informed about everything that's going on. And some of the things that now I know you're a community activist. So see, those are the things that we
Yeah.
want to have this platform be available for individuals like yourself. As far as the things that you're doing in the community, what are some of those?
Well, things have shifted a little bit. I love going and talking to the kids, going into the schools. I'm also big on, HIV and AIDS prevention, people knowing their status. So going to talk to the kids about being safe, because a lot of these kids now, they're starting to be active very young. Realistically, between 9 and 11. So understanding that, that it is a natural thing, but it is something that comes with a lot of responsibility.
Man,
You
I
know,
love that. I love that responsibility.
hmm
But that applies to all of us at all
at
ages.
all ages, absolutely.
And we have to be responsible for each other even as we move forward. Just looking into the future with some of the things that we do in the community. As
Yeah.
I consider myself an activist as well, and so I'm always trying to do things to open door for the different people, especially for the younger generation.
Right.
But then we got this level. I saw something today that I want you to tell me how you see this. I saw a grown man walking with his little boy,
Okay.
right, holding his hand. Picture that and tell me what you see.
Grown man walking with a little boy. In my head, mentally, I'm thinking a father walking with a son, but it could be an uncle or a big brother with a younger sibling. Um, and I guess for me, just the way you described it, I see it as guidance.
My man. Okay. So you on point. You on
Yeah,
point.
okay,
You on point.
okay.
Okay. So let me help you out there a little bit too,
Uh-huh.
though. When I saw the grown man who was he had to be about maybe about 5'7", 5'9", something like that, right?
Okay.
And the little boy was just a little tiny boy, looked like he was about 2 years old.
Okay.
What I saw was the gap.
Got you.
You see what I mean?
Okay.
So I saw
got
the
you.
gap to where he is and where he is, the little
Right, where
boy
the boy
is,
is, right.
and now what is happening between the gap,
Right.
and
Right.
and who's responsible?
Right.
We are.
And you know what's crazy? Could be the little boy, could be him as a kid, and you know what I'm saying.
So you saw the transition.
It could be the transition,
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what it is.
know,
When you
so-
look at it, it
right,
still is
right,
the transition.
right.
But during that process, what do we have? We have the responsibility, which you just said
Right.
earlier.
Absolutely.
It's the responsibility between that gap that plays a factor.
Yeah,
And it's very important.
it is. It's very important. But you know, the thing that really troubles me and something that we have to talk about is that, a lot of these kids now. I mean, I know in my generation, I didn't. We never thought that we would see it past a certain age, but we wanted to live. Now I think some of the youth, they have this conception that there's nothing to live for. So
Yes.
it's like we're just gonna, not saying do anything, or just they don't believe in longevity.
Man, that's really, really sad. But that's part of the issue that we have
Right.
with the young generation. They don't see a future.
Right.
They don't look at getting. I'm 61 years old. We got a lot of guys that's 13, 14, 15 years old that's already carrying guns and doing
Yeah.
things in their neighborhood.
Right.
Like we was talking about the interaction, having sex, drug activities, committing murder and things of
Right.
that nature. And these are things that many, many years ago you wouldn't hear too much about children doing.
Right.
But we got to do something about that.
We do. So that's kind of another mission that, I foresee myself in the future. Just like I said, getting back out and talking to the kids and just trying to understand from their point of view.
Yes.
I think we have to try to get to understand where their mind frame is. What's the disconnect?
Yeah.
So because I know a lot of people go and they put down the guns and but it's like, I don't know if there's anybody going and listening to them.
Yes.
So, hopefully as things are starting to open back up and I can go back into the schools and things like that, that's going to be one of my missions.
Well, first of all, I first want to say thank you for that. Also, I would like to condemn my presence to be available for you anytime that you do go to the schools. I used to do that with Dante Cunningham, who's a very, very good friend of ours.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we used to go into schools and do a career day. And it was many schools that we went in that it was phenomenal that they didn't want us to leave.
Right.
And they would consistently ask us to come back because it's important for us to get that information out there.
Absolutely.
So basically, just tell a little bit more about yourself and, what type of work you do, and what you bring to the table.
Oh man, my journey. So for me, it started at Howard University. That's where I was born at. I am first generation Washingtonian, and I'm also first generation American. My father's from Trinidad. My mother's from Haiti. Grew up here in Northwest DC. You know, just and then from there, just building and trying to help. Grow up in the inner city of, DC was Chocolate City back then.
Right.
Just a very different time. DC was very, I would say, at war with itself. The crack epidemic, drugs really high. So coming up in that area, you had to be sharp. You had to be on your toes. My neighborhood wasn't the best. So just wanting to make it through all those things and falling in love with just my culture of DC and knowing that we just had so much to offer. I saw the talent early that so many people had here in the city. I was always in love with music. So, with go-go and I collected records as a kid. So all of that, just kind of made me who I am. And, I just wanted to be a beam of light, for my city, showing people that it's not where you start, it's where you want to go, and you're bigger than your surroundings.
How about that?
So that's just kind of always been my motivation. And from there, graduated school, went to Benjamin Banneker, graduated high school, went to college. Then from there, got an internship with WPGC. And then from there, just worked my way up, and just been on the grind ever since. And, like I said, just being a beam of light for those in the DMV area. Well, back then it was just DC. For me, what I'm saying? It was that separation.
Right.
But, but no, the whole DMV area, and, just waving the flag for my city and just doing whatever I can to, keep our culture going, to be a voice for the people, for the voiceless. And, yeah.
That's what we was talking about a little bit before we came on the air, and we were talking about some of the things. I was asking you, what's some of the issues that you think that we have in this area? And both of us agreed that it's a politician type area, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, growing up here, it was interesting because all the major players that make the laws are here, but there's multiple sides to DC. So people see downtown and the monuments and Congress and all of that's here, but there were so many people here that were starving. There were so many people here. We were the murder capital at one point in time. So there was so many things going on in its own backyard, and it was like, how can you turn your cheek or your eye to what's happening in the place where you live and you know what's going on. So I think DC was always a place where we saw that the politicians, and not necessarily, not going to call it corruption, but it wasn't about the people here.
Right.
I think it's always been an underdog city. It's always been a city that's fighting for better, and there was just so many different things that were in the way of it becoming bigger or flourishing more.
Wait a minute, I'm just trying to see. You see, I got a picture of Chuck up on the wall with me.
Absolutely, that's my guy, Pops.
Yeah, but I got some other pictures I got to bring in, and one of them is with me with Marion Barry.
Yeah.
And when we was thinking about back when it was called Chocolate City, and when we see, a lot of people don't understand. We talk about DC, but DC represents the DMV.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's the Maryland and Virginia area as well.
Right.
But we're right here in that clique.
Right. And I think that for those that are watching that may not understand, like DC is a very small city. So we talking about what, like maybe 16 by 16.
Yeah,
it's very. Yeah. So you cross the line, you're in Maryland. Literally, you cross the line, you're in Virginia. But the culture of and the vibrations were coming out of DC.
Yes.
You know, and it was a lot of making something out of nothing.
You know something that you said, and it played like a tattoo in my head when you was talking about the politics, and then we talking about then the other side, right? It's a big separation in there,
Yeah.
but yet it's almost like a ball that's connected, but has two sides.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times people didn't really understand the struggle that we had outside of the political aspect of here as people in the community.
Right.
And for us, speaking on the music level, with the music artists and things of that nature, I mean, we struggle really bad here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you you have some bands that didn't have instruments and they would play on buckets, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Shout out to Junkyard Band. So I mean, it was literally people just making a way out of nothing, and it was just so rich because I mean, it wasn't for a lot of people. It was a culture shock, to no matter where you went to see different shades of brown, and it was just everywhere. Like, I mean, just imagine being around your people 24/7. So it was very interesting. But I mean, the flip side to that and being transparent is that like I said, with the drugs and the drug epidemic, things like that, we were tearing each other down. Instead of building and helping each other, it was more like I said. I mean, when it comes to survival of the fittest. So some people, they're gonna do whatever it is to make it.
Yeah.
So at that point, it was hard. It was a lot of culture, a lot of love, but it was a lot of tearing down of ourselves as well.
That was some of the things that was a real serious issue. And I think that when we talk about history and things of that nature, it's very important for us to understand about what we did to ourselves, and how we communicated it with one another. So who gave you your chance?
Wow. That's a good question. As far as what?
I mean, you gave you your opportunity to be able to get into the lane where you are to do what you like to do. Who opened the door for you, even going into WKYS?
Oh, well, before I got to KYS, man, I would say the first person that gave me my opportunity to like really see what I wanted to do, was a lady named Shea. She was actually at my college radio station.
Okay.
It was funny because I walked in. Shea was the PD at our college radio station, and it was like I walked past, and it was like I had this aha moment. It was like everything that I kind of envisioned for myself, because back then listening to the radio, I would record the disc jockeys, and I remember going to Kathy Hughes when they were with WOL on 8th Street, and listening to the radio and just that connection, like that, like I said, just the voice of the people coming through the speakers. But I give a big shout out to Shea because I walked into the college radio station. It was like, yo, I told her, I introduced myself. I said, hey, I'm a broadcast journalism major, and I really want to do radio. I want to come in. I want to learn, and this is what I want to do. She says, okay, so I'll give you your shot. She says, be here tomorrow at 8 a.m. Now, as a college student, like I'm not waking up early. Like, this is not. I'm like 8 a.m. Yeah. All right, but you know what? I was hungry, and I wanted to. I always had great work ethic. So it was. So I came back the next day, 8 a.m. I was actually there at 7:50. I was there. She was like, okay. She went in, trained me, showed me everything. She's like, you got it? I was like, I think so. She says, okay, good. You start tomorrow.
Just like that.
Just like that. And I said, okay. And from there, it was just no turning back.
When you spoke about WOL, I had the opportunity to be on the program with Kathy Hughes back in the day. Come to find out also, Kathy Hughes is a phenomenal woman who really set the platform for many people to see that you as a black entrepreneur can start from one level and move to the top.
Yeah.
Kudos to her.
Yeah.
She happens to be a very, very good friend to one of my adopted aunts who's down in Florida. I got to call her Aunt Piola. But yeah. But yeah, when you mentioned her, it just kind of made me go back. And when I thought about when Kathy Hughes was doing what she was doing, and it's many people like her that set the tone for us.
Right.
And what you're doing, you're setting the tone. What we're doing at People to People, we're setting the tone,
Right.
and we got to keep doing that so that we can really move in a direction.
Yeah, and then just saying like the greats that came before me, like the Donnie Simpsons,
Yes.
the Big Tiggers, the DJ
Yeah.
Flexes, and then it was amazing when I got my internship with WPGC, and I started working with the people that I was idolizing, and it was like, wow, okay, this is really coming into fruition. Like, these are people that I remember going and listening to them and on the way to school, and it was like, wow, to see that like now my idols are becoming my peers.
Yes.
That was really a big blessing.
Yeah, back in the day too, it was really cool because many times I had found myself in a position where I was around Donnie Simpson, and who's a definitely gentleman,
Absolutely.
and
Coolest guy to ever do it.
yeah. I had a picture a long time ago that was in the window that just before I had grew my beard and everything. I had my S curl in, and I had my hair set up a little bit. And somebody said, "Man, you look like Donnie Simpson." Girl, I was like, dude, you know what? When she said that, I was like, you know what, man, I could do this. But yeah, I didn't go get the little contact lenses to get the green eyes.
I'm glad you didn't.
I'd have got, they'd have talked about me, bro.
For sure.
But no, kudos to Donnie, man. He's another one of the individuals who has set a tone for our area. Mm-hmm. Speaking about that, so would you suggest, what is it that you can suggest right now for some of the people who are trying to set the tone? We're trying to get this platform to a level where a lot of music artists are able to use it.
Right.
What would you suggest for some of them?
I think everything in life is about consistency. The more consistent you are, things will happen. But I think there's no substitute for doing the work.
Yeah.
You just got to put in the work, and just continue to make your connects, continue to push, continue to network, and I believe as you put good energy out there, good energy will come back to you.
I mean, that's something that I live for every day. One of the things that I do first thing when I wake up in the morning, before anything, I give thanks to God for giving me another day. Mm-hmm. And in that time, just when I always look to the window so I can see the sun coming, peeping through the through the blinds, and I say, now I have another choice, and now I can use my voice. Right. And I try to do that to make it where I'm able to really use this platform to say, yo, we can do this. We can let people hear us. We can make difference in our lives. Mm-hmm. And so with that said, is for individuals like yourself who's working in the community and putting yourself out there, it is, I think, imperative that we set the tone for it. When I was talking about the father or that man I saw, the grown man and the little boy, within that stretch, because the little boy looked like he was 2 years old. The man looked like he was like probably in his 30s, right? There's a sense of responsibility, which is a word that you said that I really tattooed in my brain for a minute, and that is the responsibility that we have to make a difference for the people who are trying to do right.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, I think that with the internet now, there's so many things like, you're streaming this live on Facebook. You never know who's watching, who may take something away from this conversation that needed it. Just that extra sense of confidence. Yes. So, I think, like you said, you're touching more people than you probably know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I always say it's not about me. It's not about you. It's all about us. That's how I see it. I say people to people, that's me, you, and them. Right?
Absolutely.
So when I say them can be whoever you want them to be.
Absolutely.
And not that it's about a black or white or yellow and red or brown skinned people or whatever. It's about your heart and what your intent is when you're going out here. So how people utilize themselves. And think about the power we possess. How do we take that power? What do we do with it? You got the negative power and then you got the positive.
Right.
But when we come together collectively in a neighborhood and try to support each other, we become positive thinking individuals, which puts us in a position for us to be able to do things like this and be a community activist and put yourself in a position where you don't mind going into the schools and talking to the kids. You have any children?
I don't. I do not. Hopefully one day, hopefully I become part of the team parent, but God has what's for me, and I believe that. So, but I do, I have a lot of God kids, and a lot of my friends have kids, and I'm always active in their lives and doing what I can. So,
yeah. So again, now, so do you have any major projects that you're really focusing on right now?
Oh man. Well, I've been blessed to become a partner with a good friend of mine, and we just opened a restaurant on H Street. It's called Lydia on H, so that's one of my major projects I got going on right now. I actually just teamed up and did a project with Foot Locker, who wanted to highlight Go-Go for a Black History piece, so I co-produced that. We actually have an episode. Now, our next episode comes out tomorrow. So we're dropping we've dropped something for the past 2 weeks. We're doing a piece tomorrow on, I guess I give it up. I give you exclusive right here. We're doing a piece tomorrow on Sugar Bear. And then we're going to do a 5-minute piece that kind of ties in all the subjects that we highlighted. So we did Ronald Moulton, also Black Alley. Sugar Bear will be tomorrow, and then we're going to tie it all in. So
That's powerful. That's powerful. Excuse me. And as you know, sometimes I get so excited, man. I start to get that energy build up and everything. But for everybody just joining in, you are watching the People to People podcast with Rodney Grimes, and my guest today is the phenomenal man here, Aladdin, the Prince, right?
Yes,
WKYS. And so remember, we also, if you want to call in, you can call in on our number, which is 703-752-6120. 703-752-6120.
Talk to the people.
Yeah, let some of the people call in. And also remember the Cash App. The Cash App is the $RG1960. We ask donations. It's a donation thing. We ain't trying to get y'all to help buy me no car, no shoes. What we trying to do is just to bless you, bless others. And we appreciate 500, 2,000, 1 million, or $5. No, but on the real, we appreciate all donations. So, what happens at the MGM?
Oh, the MGM. Well, on Valentine's Day, I had a great opportunity. Shout out to my guy Dante Cunningham. He afforded me the opportunity. We're good friends and colleagues with an artist by the name of Lloyd. And he brought me out on stage, and we did some things together. And we've been working really closely because he's a big activist as far as like giving back to schools and things like that. And that's called it's a running joke, but that's like my industry twin. Everybody we favor so much. So every time people see me like, who you look like, I'd be like, nah, let me guess. So yeah, no, but we really do look very much alike, and it's very scary because we're literally a week apart. So like, yeah, his birthday's January like 9th or something, like 3rd, and mine is January 17th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just it's a really cool thing to be able to be tied in with somebody that one you really do favor, that has the same heart as you, and just a really good guy, and just about the same things, what I'm saying, like-minded individuals out here trying to help better the community, and a guy with such an amazing voice, such an amazing talent, just able to help and push each other to be greater.
I'm hoping that because we know some of these great people like Dante Cunningham,
Yes.
that one day I can get him to bring that gentleman in as well. You know, he'll come in and be sitting down here like he made this happen.
Right.
You know, kudos to Dr. I call him Dr. You know, an amazing young guy, man.
And you know what's amazing, and this is why I always say you gotta treat everybody with respect. Myself and Dante, we met back in it was like 07, 08. But we both were working at the same club, and we kind of started at the same time. We started at Live nightclub, and things just kind of came full circle. Like I've watched him go and grow, and and we've just always kept in touch. And he's watched me in my career, and it's just funny how things just always come back full circle, and you're able to help each other, and just
Yes.
just conversations that we just used to have outside the club, and just making sure each other are good, and just a wonderful friendship blossomed from that. But there are people, right, that will be like, oh, they'll look at somebody and be like, oh, you're just security. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
right,
and
right,
and
right,
treat people a certain way,
yeah.
So I always believe, just take care of your people. When you find good, genuine people in your life, no matter who they are, make sure you take care of them, because things
Most
come full
definitely.
circle.
Not we ain't gonna make this show about Dante, but
Nah,
you can't do that. We can't do that.
Hey, listen, man, look.
But
you gotta give people their flowers, though.
you
know
do,
what I'm
you
saying?
do.
So,
That's why I say, when you're talking about some of the stuff that I've done, because I actually been mentoring him since he was 16, and it's so many times when you say when you were speaking about how these things come around circle, right? And one time, he was asking permission to come in and out of my house. And then another time, he had me on a payroll on different situations
See?
where he was the boss telling me, yo, Pops, that's what he called me. Pops, this is what I need you to do.
Right.
Put money in my pocket.
Right.
I mean, on some very, very major situations and platforms that was phenomenal, man.
Right.
So, kudos to that brother because, again, and this is what he's been doing this. And let me tell you something. I do not like when I start to trying to be politically correct or like I'm trying to follow a script.
Yeah.
You coming in to sit down with this interview, I want to tell you I appreciate it. I don't take it lightly. I want you to know that this is people to people. That's me, you, them.
Right.
And we really trying to take this platform and make it really, really work. So you to come and I talked to you, Dr. was like, yo, man, I can probably get Aladdin to come on your show. And I was like, man, if you could do that, I appreciate it. You make it happen, man. First of all, that says a lot about you. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not walking around with your chest pumped up, man. People, you carrying a title, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people would look at you and say you're a celebrity,
Right.
and you are to some people, but you don't have that celebrity attitude. You don't have that attitude that I'm too big for that, And so, I appreciate that.
Nah, I mean, I appreciate you. You opening your platform, and this is what it's about. Because I know how hard it was for me to even get where I am now. There was a point in time where like I just couldn't. Felt like I was hitting a ceiling. Right.
Yeah.
I was doing overnights for maybe 3-4 years straight, and it was just like I could never get on the radio like during the day. It was like no matter what I did, but I never let it stop me. So like my hustle and my determination was so crazy. So I went up. I had an opportunity to go to New York to do Shade 45. So one of my good friends, DJ Money, went up there to DJ. He was like, yo, you want to rock with me? So I went up there, met one of the personalities that had a show on Sunday. She told her what I did, and she was like, yo, you want to get on? Like, so I got on. She was like, yo, I love your energy, blah, blah, blah. So me just going, that turned into an opportunity. She's like, yo, if you want, ain't no money, but if you want to come up here and do this with me every Sunday, you can. And I was like, yeah, I'm talking about Shade 45 is a national platform. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I would literally, man, drive up to New York on Sundays, do Shade 45 from 4 to 8, jump back in my car, come back down to DC, be back by 12 o'clock so I could be on the radio at 2 a.m.
Oh man. But that's dedication.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
So
You're putting that work in. You're putting that work in to say that you want. That's kind of what happens here. And I'm not, tooting my horn, but we put the work in. Many times, we jump up, man, and the staff that you see we got here making things happen, man. We ride up, rain, snow, sleet, hail. We up here doing what we got to do.
Right.
We're trying to be that force for many people and be the voice for many people as well.
Right.
So that I'm glad that you said that to give any listener out there to know that you got to stay dedicated and make sacrifice.
You got to. I mean, I did this for like 6 to 8 months. I'm talking no payment. Like, this is literally just opportunity.
Yes.
So when you say, the opportunity to come on, and you just never know who you're going to meet, who you're going to talk to,
Yeah.
what this opportunity can lead to for the next opportunity.
Yes.
So, I love the fact that you just opened your platform just to let me come sit down. So it's only right that I, come and give you my blessings and you give me yours.
Yeah.
This is what it's about, people to people.
People, that's right. and what I'm looking at is that what you do in this process, because you said we never know what's going to happen for tomorrow.
Right.
So here we are, because I know that we on the same wavelength on some of the things we want to do for the community, helping people.
Right.
I want you to use this platform. I want you to take this opportunity. I'm not a WKYS, Jack, but I am.
Hey, man.
We doing what we do. We out here in the
right.
Tyson Corner area, out here in the intelligence office location, man. It's a beautiful setup, a nice professional building. The people here are really, really, really nice to us, and we love it. And I'm gonna give them a little short plug real quick. It's 1934 Old Gallows Road. Okay, you looking for a location where you want to have a nice little office space, where you want to come in and be able to really conduct some good business and have a good setting. I took you and walked you around.
Yeah.
Man, this is a nice setup.
It's definitely nice.
And it's affordable. So, hey, shout out. That was a free advertisement plug
Nice little plug.
for Intelligent Office. I'm trying to tell you, you know what I mean? But for real, this is what they do. Shout out to the Commerce, the Tyson's Corners Commerce Committee. Mr. Andrew Clark, who's the chairman, the people that's doing stuff out here in the Tyson Corner area, but also a shout out to those that's doing things down in Baltimore, that people like yourself in D.C. and those in Alexandria, Virginia, Fairfax. Excuse me. It's all about that networking.
Yeah.
That people to people. Y'all see me, I'm over here trying to be all really polite and everything with the burp. That's Dante. Dante fed me a little bit earlier, so I gotta blame him. I'm gonna blame it on him. I'm trying to tell you, he filled me up before I came on. So
Nice.
yeah, that's his fault. But yeah, so outside of that, again, what you're doing in the community, what you're bringing to the table, man, is so much appreciated. And we just want you to know that, again, you're actually a leader for many.
Yeah, nah, I appreciate that. And like you said, just and also trying to lead. I think the biggest thing too, like I at one point I did leave. I went to Florida and I came back and just wanting to, the reason I left was I wanted to show people it's okay to leave, go and grow. But when I came back, I saw so much that was happening here with the music scene and the artists, and I just really wanted to be I guess a pioneer in trying to get certain things of the arts here. So, trying to keep the culture alive and vibrant as things are changing, and we see, with gentrification, things when gentrification happens, some of the old culture can be washed away. So, I think that's also a part of my mission right now, is trying to figure out different ways to help artists. And, I think DC is an untapped market.
Yes.
So just because I know a lot of the artists feel as if they have to leave here to go somewhere else to make it and be successful. And when you look at different cities like Miami and Atlanta, how they were able to somehow build the infrastructure to allow their artists to stay and attract artists from different places, I think DC has that same potential as well.
And I agree with you 100%. And that's what people to people, we are that platform, along with some other ones. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to downplay anybody, but we here, that's what we are looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to leave to go to Atlanta or New York or Miami to get some exposure. You can come to this location.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do. I'm telling a lot of people, not telling, but asking a lot of people to go to YouTube, Rodney Grimes, put my name Rodney Grimes in and subscribe. Look at us. You want to give us ideas? Give us ideas, because this is not just for me.
Right.
This is not just for you. This is for us.
Yeah.
And we can change this little stigma that they have in the DC area, or the DMV, the crab in the pot syndrome,
Yeah, yeah.
It's bad.
It is. I think that's one of the greatest joys that I've seen over the past couple of years. Though I think that mentality has dissolved.
It's starting to change.
Well, it's changed. I think it's changed already in a major way. At one point in time, like I said, when I was growing up, there was a separation. If you weren't from DC, don't say you from DC, because that could have consequences. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, if you from Maryland, say you from Maryland. If you from Virginia, say you from Virginia. But now, with the embodiment of DC, Maryland, and Virginia, now the nickname being DMV, just saying how the artists gravitated towards that, and it's been a beautiful thing to watch, as far as just the camaraderie. I think another thing that's happened is a lot of, you also see it. I know a lot when I've been to Cali a couple of times, and it's a lot of people from the DMV area in California now. And just seeing that everyone it's like a pocket. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just everyone is working together. Everyone's waving the flag. Everyone's trying to do their part to make sure that they know about our talent, that they, between actors, musicians, you name it, they're comedians. Everyone's kind of waving their flag in a way, and being proud to say that they're from this area. I think what has to happen though now is that as people are going spreading their wings, they have to bring the resources back.
My man, I love that. That is so powerful. Bring the resources back. Bring it back to, let's build at home. It's almost like, don't look at somebody else's yard and talk about how pretty their yard is. Put the fertilizer and grass seed in our yard. Mm-hmm. Groom our grass. Make our yard look good. Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of people have to do. I'm hoping that a lot of people will do that with the program. I keep stressing that because it's imperative that they understand that my success is your success. Your success is mine. Okay. All of us together. We have a platform that if there's somebody out there that want to learn about the working the boards and the working in the studio and stuff like that, we have that available. Mm-hmm. We're not a very, very large organization like that, but we are an organization.
Right.
And we're providing that opportunity for many people. And I think, I'm not even going to say I think, I know for a fact, by the time the summertime come, we're gonna be popping up in here hard.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Just seeing things slowly come back, things are slowly rolling out. I think if there was one wish that I had, for this area, is that it would be recognized as a entertainment hub.
Yes.
I think it has so much to offer. You look at we'll just go with the concert venues that people can have to perform. You got the 930 Club, you got the Fillmore, you have the MGM, you have what's the joint down there on the harbor? You got the Birchmere.
And the new joint, like you said,
the Anthem. You know what I'm saying? You have Capital One Arena. I mean, you just have so many
much,
places that people can perform.
Yes.
And there's just a lot of different things that can be brought. I mean, you see how many talented actors. Big shout out my man Big G, who's doing amazing things and getting a lot of roles. I mean, filmmakers, a lot of people that are doing music videos, that I know go to Atlanta. They're from this area.
Yeah.
So, I just think what needs to happen is we need a little bit of help with the infrastructure, because I think nothing that flourishes doesn't do it without a base.
Right.
You know, but yeah, record label, movie studio, those things could be put here, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in Wash. I mean, like I said, the surrounding,
DMV.
yeah,
The DMV.
the
Yeah.
surrounding area is so big, and there's so many places that things can be put. You know, I really be interested to see that happening. You know? And even old places like Landmark Mall. You know what I'm saying? If they were to turn that into something. You know?
Yeah, they get ready to tear that down.
Yeah, I mean, but I know they use it for a couple of movies that were shot here in DC. So, I mean, we're seeing the shift. You know, I think it's going to take. You know, I think the pandemic might have slowed some things up, and things are in transition. But I definitely think this is an area that can embody a lot more than just politics.
And that's what we have to do again. And I agree with you 100%. It's all about us, but bringing it to the table where we. It takes one to teach one. It takes a village. You know, we got to show that support. Stop looking at a person and judging a person and being to a point where we are saying, I'm worried about him having success before I get it. People have to understand. We got a caller. Hold
Hey, I like it.
Caller. State your name and who's calling.
My name is Rachel Pope, calling from District Heights, Maryland.
Hey, Rachel, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I just came in and listened to the podcast, and I said, as soon as I came in, I started hearing you, the king, his name Dante.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for saying that, because I was just talking about this to another artist, and we always have discussions. So I'm in Prince George's County, and I just wanted to say, you guys were talking about being discovered. You got to go out of town, get to another state to be discovered. Well, it's quite interesting for you guys to say that, because I, in Prince George's County, got discovered in D.C.
Hey, Queen Rachel.
What?
Hold on just a second. I got to straighten something out. See, hold on a minute. Don't even go nowhere. Hold on. We ain't talking about this is Aladdin the Prince. Okay, don't give Dante that. We're not giving Dante that play. See, you walked in and when you start hearing it, you heard Aladdin talk about Dante, and then now you giving him the play. This is Aladdin, the Prince from WKYS 93.9.
Well, that's awesome, WKYS. Wait a minute. Wasn't Donnie Simpson a part of that station too?
Yeah, Donnie Simpson started
Back
off
in the
at
day?
KISS back in the day. He left and went to PGC, and now he's back in Magic 102.3.
Yeah, hey, Queen Rachel, you got.
Hang up on
And look, is my bestie there? Zena is there, right?
Yes,
She
I
is.
am.
Yes, she is.
I'm here.
Did you tell him my little story?
No, Rachel.
Well, anyway, she'll tell you that, Dante. But I just want to say thank you for bringing that up. And you know, I have all these little concepts that was swimming in my head concerning about resources for all artists. But recently, Maryland just had Maryland's Arts Day. I don't know if DC has that, but they are able to go to, well, before the COVID, go to legislators and speak with their representative in their county and to say, hey, look, this is what we do in the community. Do not cut the budget for the arts. So you already aware, considering about Maryland and the district art area on Route 1, how they got developed and all that. And so they are doing a lot of things in Maryland to have resources and the development, like you say, take old buildings and turn them into studios. And I'm not sure, considering about what the DC Commission for the Arts is they doing the same thing, but it would be wise for them to do that, turn the old buildings into area for artists to use their facility for little than nothing.
Well, you know
right.
what? Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I totally agree with you.
Yeah, basically, thank you, Rachel. I can honestly say that that's something that down the line that people like the Aladdin that's sitting here and myself, some of the things that we'll be bringing to the table in different, areas, making suggestions when we got those places that we can use for the future for different artists and for those things. So, definitely that was on point. I appreciate that so much.
Yes, and I personally think they need to change the form of the school system the way that it is now. The system itself needs to be changed altogether for the people, and to add more curriculum things for the artists, to thrive even more. But I can go on, and I know that, you guys got to keep on moving with your platform. So Zeta will give you my information. Is okay, Z?
I got you, Rachel.
Okay. I love you guys.
We love you too. Thank you, baby.
Back. Thank you for calling.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Yes.
Nah, and I think something she touched on that's very true. I think something that hasn't happened that I believe can happen is, taking the arts and kind of using that, because I think kids are very creative these days.
Yeah.
And the linear, and I believe in structure. I think that's still needed, but just the different ways that you can teach now with technology. I think incorporating some creative ways as far as the arts and adding, the arts with math. Like, you look at this, right? You had a 3-camera setup, but that's actually like the shape of a triangle. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different things that I believe that, you can kind of take and use as innovative ways to just not only teach the arts, but you can incorporate curriculum into the arts.
And basically what it does, and you're right, what it does is give you a sense of responsibility and know how different people play their parts in different things. And this help also when we are moving in life on how things operate. You need that person that can work the boards. You need that person who got the phones on control on the other side, and the person who's out there reaching out and responding and all these things. And if we had this in the schools, I think that something, we messed up when we start pulling these things out of the schools.
Right.
We messed up really bad because we got a lot of talented young people, and they need to take that energy and put it back into who they are. Something you said earlier too that was really important, and I'm glad I didn't forget about it. When we go to the young people, we got to go to where they are. We can't have them come to us.
Yeah.
We got to go to them. We got to go to them, find out what they're thinking, where their minds are, what is it that they see, so that we'll have something to work with.
Right.
Because when we start dictating, sometimes we're in a whole different way of doing things.
Right.
So we can't dictate the way we did it.
Yeah.
We got to see how they want to do it.
It's amazing because, like I said, looking at my god kids and just how smart they are. They come out and they know how to use the phones better than we do.
Yeah.
They know how to swipe left, swipe right.
Yeah.
They doing all, you like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What are they showing you? I ain't even know my phone could do that. Like, granted, I don't know if they just pressing buttons or what, but it's like they're born with this intuition of coming out the womb knowing how to use technology. So, it's just something that we have to think about, These kids are very smart. They're very advanced.
I used to, sometimes my wife laughs at me because she says some of the stuff that you say or think. And I was thinking one time that I went through a time warp and went back about 100 years. But I still had on the same clothes and I had my 9 with me too, right? When I went. But I was thinking going back, and I'm thinking, man, when you go back there just looking at, here back there, they was riding horse and buggies, right? But damn, we got a car that can go 140, 160 miles in like a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Man, technology is amazing, and we got the
Now
kids
they
are living in
now
it.
these cars are driving themselves.
Yeah, how about that?
You know?
I mean, a car that you can get in, tell a car where you want to go, and actually, I wouldn't be foolish to fall asleep, but
I mean, you can do it though.
you can do it though.
You can do it. So,
Technology is something.
yeah, I say the future is now.
The future is now. I think that what's been happening with the pandemic, I think that we are in a position where we really, really, really are changing, and things are just evolving.
Yeah.
And we got to do something about it.
We do. I think the biggest thing too that we have to get back to though is just that whole it takes a village.
Yeah.
We got to get back to community though. You know, I think we haven't even really seen the effects of how this pandemic has affected people mentally.
Oh my God.
You know, so I think more so than ever, you know, the sense of community, the sense of building together is needed. You know, and I think that also goes along into building into schools, technology. I think that'll help in a lot of different financial literacy. I mean, the way it's just a lot of different information. There's a lot of things shifting. So, you know, we really have to help each other. And it's like you said, it's about the people. So it's not even a color thing. You know, it's
Right.
it's about the people.
It's about the people.
You know, it's you just never know. You know, who's going through what, and
Yeah.
we have to have these dialogues, and we have to, you know, something as small. And you know, it's crazy. Wow, here's a full circle moment. I did Maya Angelou's last interview,
Man.
and the one thing she said to me is that we as a people have to have the decency just to look each other in the eye and say good morning to each other.
Yeah.
How are you? How's your day going?
Yeah.
You know, because you never know how that may just impact somebody.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's more needed now than ever. You know, and you have to be prepared. You know, because if you ask somebody how are you, they may not be doing well.
Yeah.
You know, and if somebody's not doing well, at least have or try. You know, to have some empathy.
Yes.
To have the gall of the will just to listen.
Yeah.
And give somebody some encouragement and let people know that, you know, it's going to be okay.
I like that. That's something that we need to talk about more and put out there. When somebody's down, put your hand out to pull them up.
Yeah.
Just put us in a position. We only got a couple of minutes left, but I'm going to let you have the last words. But I
wanted something better for myself.
I just wanted to. I don't. You know what? I'm gonna get Dante. Dante, hey, I'm letting y'all know. Dante is the one over there doing that.
You know what that means? That means you get money. You get some ads coming through.
Yeah, he over there.
People to people is moving up, baby.
You know, but so this is what's up for real. I'm asking you, please help us to do these jobs. Help us to make the difference. You know, I don't want to sound like I'm begging or anything, but it's imperative that we use these platforms to make a difference in our community because it's so needed. Our young people, man, we're in trouble when it comes down to a lot of things that's been taken away from them. We got to give something back. Yeah. And so, you know, having a platform like this, we got to utilize. Hold on, I guess we got another caller. Let's see. Hello, caller. State your name and where you calling from.
How you doing? Skidder Scat calling from PG County, Maryland.
Hey, what's up there, Skidder? What's happening?
How you doing? What's up, Mr. Rodney Grimes? How you doing, Aladdin the Prince?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, okay. I have a question mainly for artists. So I was listening to you guys saying you don't really have to leave here to get put on in your city. So what would you say is the best thing for an up-and-coming artist to do to get a positive attention of a DJ like yourself?
I mean, I would say you gotta get out here and network. Definitely hit the clubs. You know, and you just everything's about timing. You know, but you know, introduce yourself. Say, you know, it doesn't necessarily be when somebody's spinning or whatever, but just hey, this is who I am. I do music if you got some time, just like any other business, if like let me take you out to lunch. Let me, what I'm saying, so you can we can have a one-on-one conversation so you can, present what you have going on. But then on top of that, use the internet. I mean, everything now is digital. So, as much as you can, you want to build your fan base. It's about, building your fan base locally, and that's the great thing about kind of what's going on. A lot of these kids and a lot of people are supporting local. So, it's just about connecting with the people, and then from there, and going into the digital space and, knowing what type of artist you want to be, it's different levels, and, just keep going at it. Just keep grinding.
Right. Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Nah, no problem.
So, Skitty, you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, so and I want to add to that. Remember that it's going to be, again, the work that you put in, but it's not all the time what you know. It's a lot of time who you know. And like he said,
Right.
when you take the time and go out to introduce yourself to people and let people know that you're serious, and
It's a grind, man.
It's a grind.
It's definitely a grind,
yeah.
So
So definitely take that opportunity to promote yourself, man, and make sure that you letting people know you are serious about your art. Yeah, he's been on the show before. He's an artist that's been really in the music business for a minute, and he's putting his work
and that
in.
would be my other thing too. Know that it's a business first. So you have to know the music business. A lot of artists they lose that it's not about your talent first. It's about, the industry is, people are going to think, all right, how do I make money off of you and your art before you do? So keep that in mind. But as much as you can learn about the business and know about the business, that's definitely important.
Okay. Thank you for
Right.
calling in, Skidder. Thank you for calling in.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
All right,
No
my
problem.
man. I see that they got something set over there, but the camera's crooked. So y'all might want to straighten that out. So yeah, you got to straighten it out because I got the Aladdin on here, and he ain't gonna talk about me and say, "Yo,
man, they gotta be perfect. This is a people show. The people know.
To Dr. Maya Angelou, you have a charter school here in Washington, D.C. What are some of your goals for the charter school?
To encourage my prayer in these four schools, and there are many around the country named for me. My prayer is that young men and women will learn that they are valuable, they are worthy, and that they need to believe enough in themselves to educate themselves. In these schools, they can drop the buckets of ignorance and learn to educate themselves so they can continue to make this country more than it is today, more than what James Baldwin used to call these yet to be United States.
You've seen a lot of trying times in the United States. With this being such a troubling time for people, what words of encouragement would you say to motivate people to move through these hard times?
Well, I would encourage everybody to develop courage. It's the most important of all the virtues, because without it, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. You must be able to develop enough courage so that you can look at another human being and say good morning, no matter whether he or she shares your complexion or your community or your race or your religion. Try to say good morning. How are you?
You've created quite a legacy. What would you say has been your fondest moment or memory throughout?
This very one.
This
one, I wasn't. No one promised me I'd have this strand. I'm grateful for this one.
Thank you so much.
That's right. Money's raised from tonight's event.
Oh man, that was amazing, man. That's such an honor that you had that opportunity to really do the interview with her, man.
Let me tell you that, and it's so crazy how it happened. It literally, I really feel like God made that moment happen, right? Because we were all in the room, and they brought her up, and they said no interviews, nobody can talk. I mean, no, there was just a moment for her to just to say hello to everybody. And then they security, they cleared the room, but for some reason, they didn't tell me and my my best friend Money was with me. DJ Money was with me, and I had the camera. And literally, we're just standing there. Like, security's telling everybody else, like, everybody can leave. Like, everybody, leave, because they want to take her downstairs. And I was like, nah, I just heard her listening to my twist was like, I'm going to see if I could just ask her. Like, literally, there was nobody there. It was just me and her in the room. And I was like, you know what? I would probably never have this opportunity again.
Yeah.
It's like, I was like, Dr. Angelo, I introduced myself. I said, I'm a big fan of your work. I've, studied you when I was in high school. And I just want to know if I could just ask you a couple of questions. And she said, sure.
And she's an amazing. I know that she's transitioned, but I don't like to talk about people in the past. She is and will always be an amazing woman, man.
And so that was the last time that she came to, and shortly after that, and I know that was her last interview because shortly after that she got sick and nobody saw her. You know what I'm saying? But I know for sure that was her last interview that she did.
Oh man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I really just appreciate everybody that tuned in. This is People to People with Rodney Grimes, and my guest today, the amazing Aladdin, the Prince from WKYS 93.9. I appreciate you, my brother,
yes,
man.
Sir.
Hey, it was much love and respect, man.
For sure. We're gonna do this again.
Yeah, for sure, man. We gonna do that. Yes.
Make sure y'all continue to support People to People.
That's what it's all about. We're going to make a difference. It's not about me. It's not about you. But it's all about us. All right. Hey, my man, that's so cool. Man, that had to be amazing to be in the room with her.
Yeah. It was
just
one of the biggest
phenomenal.